What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Also know I'm a certified empowerment coach and president and CEO of Express Your Vibe Coaching and Communications. And know that the Dr. Vibe show is the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. And you know I always like to have new friends on the Dr. Vibe show, and I succeeded again. We've got two new friends on tonight, and it's very rare that I get a couple and a black couple who are podcasters. I don't think I've ever had this. Over 2,000 Epic Conversations. I think this is a first, and I like good firsts. So our new friends, I'll give a little story that I was given, and I'll just share it with everybody. Once upon a time, there was a young Jamaican American girl from Manhattan who traveled all the way. She knows I got some roots, yes. All the way to University Park, Pennsylvania to meet the love of her life, a native of Hollis, Queens resident. So this guy's got to be a hip-hop guy. Where does the story go from here? Currently, the book is still being written. For 13 years, they shared together and accomplished quite a lot in their early 30s. A licensed attorney by trade, Natasha has held various stints in the corporate world prior to making a foray into fashion and writing, as you can tell by the hair. Having been a victim of bullying as a child growing up, Natasha learned to seek out fashion as a source of strength early on and actively uses it as a personal means of empowerment because of her own experiences with bullying and her strong desire to help others with the plus side community, which is another important community. Natasha started to design the Dressing Room 8 to provide a web-based resource where women can gain personal and professional empowerment through her fashion and lifestyle-focused blog. Consultation and coaching services. Dressing Room 8 helps women how to think with clarity, dress with confidence, and live with a purpose. Very nice. The tech guy, Kahlil Nurse, is an electrical engineer who wears many different hats, just like his wife. And he is a tech guru for too many people to mention. I'm going to ask for a list later on, which his friends and family can totally attest to. He has been the technical support for Dressing Room 8 and Sisters on Fire. As a fan of cars, technology, and finance, he embraces opportunities to learn, grow, and enjoy his hobbies to the fullest. Back in September 2017, they decided to share their marriage and thoughts to media with an exciting new broadcast, WokeNFree. Is that walk or walk? A walk, where they talk about relationships, education, religion, politics, music, history, fashion, diversity in the media, entertainment, empowerment matters, life hacks, technology, cultural disparities in the world. They talk about everything. Let's just say they talk about everything and everything in between. You can listen to a new podcast every Wednesday on WokeNFree Wednesday. Welcome the first podcasters of color on the Dr. Vibe show after 2,000 episodes. Natasha and Kahlil, what is up?
Hey,
I'm telling you, this is
great.
I love it. I love good first, and this is a good first on the Dr. Vibe show. And thank you for taking time out of your positive, productive schedule to share with us what's been going on today.
Good. We are preparing for our upcoming WokeNFree Wednesday episode, and we're talking all about Black Panther. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
So I finally saw the movie yesterday afternoon.
Yes. Okay. What did you think?
The good movie. A lot of interesting insights. A lot of interesting. A lot of interesting insights. I think it was a well done movie. I'm not a comic book head. So I like the entertainment. I like the production. I love the African influence and messaging. And I was very proud after leaving the theater. I saw it in 3D. So
oh wow!
I saw it in 3D too. I actually saw it 3 times
already.
So one time I saw it in 3D. Yes. So how the story went is, me and my wife originally planned to go on a day, and we were going to go with her dad. So we booked our tickets, got that in advance. So that was my one viewing. That was like, I guess, 5 days later.
Yeah.
But then we found out about like this early showing the next day. It was on Thursday, and that was before the movie actually came out, which was on Friday. And she said, "Oh, we have to go." So I said, "All right, let's go, honey. I'm going to go." It was like 11:30. I said, "You know what? We'll go. Let's just do it. We don't do much early premiere movies." So I said, "Hey, let me try that. So that was actually my first time. And then my second time is my mom was like, hey, I had to get the tickets. They're selling out. We have to go. And she just told me a time, and I said, all right, I'll go. Since you already bought the ticket and you didn't tell me what time that you really wanted to go, I'll just go with you. And that was the time I saw it in 3D.
Wow.
So I saw it Thursday, I saw it on a Saturday, then I saw it on a Tuesday.
Yep.
Wow. And are you going to go see it again?
I want to go see it for a third time. Absolutely.
Well, oh yeah, then it would be 3 times for you then.
Exactly. Listen, I think there's never been a movie like this in our entire history. I mean, I think that the production was not only, you know, deeply insightful, but deeply moving. And to see Black people in such regal form and so powerful and so confident in being Black and being beautiful, I just, it moved me. It moved my soul. I currently have a shirt that says Wakanda versus everybody. So, like, I'm deeply moved.
We actually have a lot of Black Panther swag.
Yeah.
We got like a limited edition popcorn tin and a cup. It was $20, but it was worth it, right?
Yeah, we're all about the Black Panther
swag. We have T-shirts. I just got a poster that came in the mail. Gratitude from my wife.
Yeah, so our early showing, that you got a free poster actually. So
that was from that.
That was from the early showing.
That's what that. Okay.
So we're all about Black Panther.
Well, what I'm wishing for is that Blacks as a people strive to create Wakanda.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because it's wonderful to see it in film. I just hope and pray that it inspires, educates us to achieve getting to a Wakanda.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know,
I think that, you know, you have to, so much of, the phrase is, you know, art imitates life, life imitates art. So by us being able to see the power of Black money, the power of Black beauty and strength that we have, I think
Black
it is.
Intelligence.
And intelligence and technology. Like, I think it's going to trickle down, and I think that kids are going to see themselves in a different way, which then will kind of trickle down into the type of decisions that they make, right? And so we have Princess Shuri. So now young girls of color who are now, you know, they've been trying to push the women in STEM movement, can now say, wow, I can be, you know, African and an engineer and a technological guru, right? Like, so I don't necessarily know if we'll see like an immediate one-for-one change, but I definitely think the conversation starting is unbelievable. I mean, the type of success this film has had has been unprecedented, really, for our community. So I think it's definitely, as a global conversation, we're not there yet. We don't have Wakanda, but I think that we have to start somewhere, and I think that this movie is a beautiful beginning for that.
It's like something we could strive towards, right?
Absolutely.
So we see like that's like the perfect ideal situation would be Wakanda. We might not get to that perfect Wakanda, but we can do something similarly. We can have just a neighborhood that kind of like emulates Wakanda. It can have tech. It could just be, you know, like Black tech, you know.
But yeah, just the promotion of
Black people
unity. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, we all are coming out and we're showing up, right? We're showing up for something that matters to us. And so that unification piece of us seeing the film together, telling other people in our community, go see this, like, that is important too, because a lot of people sadly will say, you know, oh, I'll see that later. And no, like, come and support your brothers and sisters, because we are all together in this. And if we don't support our own narrative, how can we expect anyone else to respect our narrative? And I think that that's like a big part of what's going on. So there's that, but we won't talk all about Black Panther. You asked us to, you gave us a beautiful bio and intro, so thank you. Let's, I guess, dive into talking about how we came to be. So,
in the tradition of the Dr. Vibe show, we always like to go ladies first. Natasha, share some of your journey with us, if you could, please.
Absolutely. So I met my hubby at Penn State, as you mentioned. And,
no. I want you to go further back than that. Not just before Penn State.
Got to your point.
Oh, before I, like, my my life beginning?
Yeah, like where you grew up. What was life growing up?
Like beginning. Oh, okay.
Share the story.
Born and raised in Manhattan. I grew up in, I don't know if anyone listening and watching is familiar with Stuyvesant Town in Manhattan, 14th Street to 1st Avenue and Avenue like E, so Lower East Side. And, it was an interesting experience. I definitely didn't have a lot of diversity in my life. So forming Black identity is something that actually took me longer because I was one of 5 Black kids in my school. And, as you mentioned, I am Jamaican, right? So there's Caribbean kind of cultural identification, which is very much segmented from African-American identification. So by the time I got to college and meeting Kahlil, it really, I had to go through kind of a resurgence and try to figure out who is Natasha as a Black woman, right? Not just as a Jamaican, not just as an American, but who am I as a Black person? And that helped formulate kind of some of the things I wanted to do. Going to college all my life, if you would have met me when I was like 7, I would have told you I wanted to be a veterinarian, actually. I love animals. I deeply passionate about them. You might see our dog and cat at some point. They run us. We don't run them.
Right.
They know who's boss here. But when I got to Penn State, I realized I wanted to play with cats and dogs, not so much cut them open. So I switched gears and I started taking law classes, started taking business classes, and then that led me to say, I'm going to be a lawyer because, a lawyer, I can be a traditional attorney, or I could do non-traditional work. And it ended up being that I went into a non-traditional path, started doing like legal education, sales. And then when I had the opportunity to pursue entrepreneurship, I did. And I wanted to start a business that was about something I was deeply passionate about, which is the empowerment of women and young girls. So primarily I consult and I coach in that arena, right? So I work on things related to social media, event production, as well as just like business strategy. And so it's been wonderful. All my clients, definitely keep me busy 24/7 as an entrepreneur. You're never done working, but I've never been happier and more satisfied with how I use my time and what type of creative projects I'm involved in. So it's been a wild ride getting here, but it's definitely been enjoyable. And most of all, it's been amazing because of the person sitting next to me, because, in life, you have to have a touchstone, and Kahlil is definitely my touchstone. So
I love that.
I hope that was a good bio in the beginning for everyone.
Absolutely. Before we get some of Kahlil's story, was it, Natasha, hard for you to leave the corporate world and become an entrepreneur?
No, because I think that for me, I was always told like I was too creative, or, always being criticized for things that related to who I am as a person. And I'm a firm believer that if you are being criticized for who you are, then you're not in the right situation in your life, because you cannot really apologize for who you are, and you have to make a decision. Do you want to kind of subdue who you are for your job, or should your job exemplify who you are? And for me, I believe that your job should be an extension of who you are. And for me, entrepreneurship allows me to control my schedule. It allows me to decide what type of creative projects I'm a part of, and it allows me to be innovative in not only who I'm working with, but what I'm doing. So it released me. Essentially, I was a caged bird, and now I'm free.
Well put. Kahlil, it's your turn.
All right. So I know you brought up I was born and raised in Hollis, Queens. So that's where my journey began. And I actually lived in a neighborhood that wasn't so great. So what my mom did is she sent me to private school for most of my life, to be honest. The only time that I went to public school was once we moved out east towards Nassau County, and there I went to public school. But being in private school, I think, was really good for me. It made me, I don't know, I don't want to say it made me smarter, but it felt like it brought out the best in me. I think being in private school really helped, because if I went to public school, I think I might have gotten into trouble. I might have not been in the same place that I am today. So I do thank my mom for sending me to private school, because that really helped out. So, and it's kind of funny too. So when I was younger, I never really studied or anything. So I don't know if that was just from the private schooling that helped me. I never studied. I didn't know how to study, but I got good grades. Like, I was really good in school. I could perform well on tests. Then when I got to Penn State and I met my love, then I found out that, oh man, this stuff is kind of hard. I actually do need to study, so I had to figure out how to study. So that was definitely a journey, like going to college. It was like they say, they tell you, get ready for kind of like a culture shock, because when you go there, it's going to be a lot different. So I was okay with the big crowds. I know we went to a big school. We went to Penn State. I was okay with that. Like that didn't bother me. I didn't want to go to a small school. I wanted to go to a place where you could see lots of different people. And Penn State was sort of diverse. I mean, it was a majority white college, but there was still a good amount of minorities there. There was a lot of black people there, and
Definitely.
they had their fraternities and sororities. So there were things for black people to do. You could join different clubs. So I did that. And then also when I had gone to Penn State, I actually was on like a fellowship. So that it's like a scholarship program that paid everything for me to go. It paid for tuition. They provided like a stipend so I could buy books. And I also was a Jackie Robinson Jackie Robinson Foundation fellow. So I received a stipend from that. So I could just buy, I think they didn't pay for meal plans on my fellowship. So the Jackie Robinson stipend helped pay for the meals. So my college was basically paid for. You know, I took out a few loans because I wanted extra stuff. Like me and her did movie nights, and we like to rent movies and stuff. So I took out some money because I like to have some nice things. So I did that, but I think it was worth it.
I think it was too. Oh no!
Yeah, I mean, we like to fun. I like to have fun. She likes to have fun. So, yeah, I took out a little spending cash, and I'm really happy about that. I'm actually like, I actually applied to other schools, and I didn't make it into those schools. They were all like Ivy Leagues, and I was kind of upset about that at first, but not so much. Once I met her, I was like, you know what, it was worth it. Like coming to the school was worth it. Not just for the education, because the education was pretty good, because it forced me to study. It forced me to make my way through either way. But meeting her was great too. I mean, I think it was still a good decision to come to Penn State.
That's our Penn State PSA.
You guys are so blessed.
Love of my life.
If we had 2 hours, I'd love to hear some stories, because I can tell from Natasha's laugh, there's some classic stories.
There's definitely some classic stories. That's a good way to put it.
Yes.
Classic.
So Kahlil, you mentioned a lot about your mother. What were some of the values that your mother instilled in you?
All right. So, well, she kind of instilled in, I guess, to always put your best effort in, because that's one thing I did. Even though I wasn't studying, I did put my effort. I put as much effort into my work, my testing, and even my homework whenever I could. I did put effort into it. That was one of the things. Let's see. Another thing.
Independence.
Did she? Oh, yeah. Well, all right. Well, a couple of things. I guess another thing I like is that she taught me and my brother kind of like how to be handy and kind of like a do-it-yourself thing. So she would teach us how to, hey, build this table, or can you fix that pipe? You know, do you know what these tools are? She'd give it to me, and I'd have to learn it. I'd show my younger brother how to do that. So I like that she instilled the do-it-yourself thing in me. I mean, I think that kind of like helped me just now. I'm a homeowner, and it makes it a lot more easier.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have to pay somebody to do everything. I can fix little things myself, and I don't like panic when things break. You know, I can just say, you know what, I will take care of that. And the same goes with electronics. Like that's what kind of got me into electronics, is that do-it-yourself attitude that made me say, hey, I want to take this apart and see how it works, and maybe I'll put it back together and make it better. So I used to do that as a child too. So I like that she taught the do-it-yourself attitude, and that gave me the kind of independence is another thing that she taught me. So she taught that you should be able to like take care of yourself. You shouldn't rely on others. You need to be able to pay for things and get things done yourself. So I like that. And I saw her doing that herself, because I grew up under my mom. She was a single parent. So I saw that. I watched her do everything. I watched her go to multiple jobs. So she was definitely a hardworking woman. So that definitely like was instilled into me that independence is really good, and it makes you a powerful person. So.
Also, he's being humble. He can cook and clean better than me. Every time I introduce him, I say he's a better woman than I am.
I didn't mention that. But yes, I do. Yes, I do laundry.
Yeah, I do that too. I love doing laundry and I love cooking.
Okay, so yeah, you guys are from the same cloth.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And then cooking, definitely. Yeah, I had to learn how to cook.
He just gave us dinner tonight. Yeah,
nice.
But did you do that same thing that I did when I was younger? When so there'd be a lot of dirty dishes, and I was really young. I guess I was like maybe 5, and I wanted to clean the dishes. Did you ever have that attitude or no?
Did you want to clean the dishes?
But isn't that weird?
No, I love washing dishes to this day.
You had that when you were younger, right?
I love washing dishes because when I was younger, especially on Saturdays, it was my responsibility to clean the whole house, vacuum, dishes, all that stuff. So that was instilled for me from a very young age. So
Were you paid for this?
Pardon me? No.
Were you paid for this?
Come on, I had a Jamaican parents. Pay? Come on.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh no! See, my dad was very so he spoiled me only because my dad's an older parent. So my dad, by the time I came around, I'm the 4th. I'm his 4th kid. But I was raised by myself. So he just said, "Go be a student," and he would do like the other stuff for me. So no, I never had the inclination to clean. I will never have the inclination to clean.
Yes, pampered one. Okay, pampered one. We know where we're coming from. It's all good.
Yeah. So, and he's also part Guyanese too, so he has the Caribbean
I have some
link there.
There you go. So, Natasha, same question for you. What sort of values were you raised with and that you still carry on till today?
So my dad, I attribute to him all day, every day, my insatiable appetite for success and excellence. My dad raised me in a way where if I came home with a 98 on a test, it was, why didn't you get 100? If I came home with 100, why didn't you get 102? Was it, can you always be pushing it? You can never succeed enough. Even to this day in my business, I could tell him I have a client. He won't blink. We were listening to me on the radio. I have my own radio show as well, 90.3 WHBC. And, you know, most parents probably be like, oh my God, my kid's on the radio. My dad just sits silently. Like I can never be enough. So as harsh as that might sound for like non-Caribbean families, I truly appreciate it because it made me never be a complacent person. Even if I like had $1 million, right? When's my next million, right? Like you can never push enough. You can never make your community proud enough, you know. And so from him, I take work hard, work harder than you've ever worked harder before so that no one can ever accuse you of not wanting to be hungry for your dreams. Also, just be charismatic. I was raised in a way where, you know, you walk into a room, you should be the shining light. You know, everyone should want to know who you are, and you need to, you know, articulately describe who you are, what you're interested in, and it should be amazing conversation. So my dad definitely made me the butterfly that I am today, and then
by any means necessary.
Yes, by any means necessary.
Yes. Okay.
And you know, and also just to like, you know, I think in his own way, like I think he thinks I'm like really out there, but in his own way, I think he encouraged me to be myself, right? Like I've always been a very dynamic person. I've always loved art. I've always loved music. And like my dad, just like I was a very independent child. I was left alone at the age of 6. I never had a babysitter. My dad knew. He would tell me, read a book, do your poetry, like do not do what I tell you not to do. And I was a very obedient child. So, you know, I spent my childhood like literally doing what I wanted, and then you know, in between having to like deal with the crazy Jamaican people, but you know, just be yourself, right? But at most of all, make sure that when you go out in the street that you're very respected, respectable, and that you know, you act right, like you act like you have home training. And so those are some of the things that he instilled in me.
So just purify manners and respect, right?
To a degree. Because I'm American, though, I'm more like confrontational than my dad would be. Like, I'm just like, what was that? What was that you said? But because he left Jamaica when he was 10 and grew up in England, so I think he's even more prim and proper than I would be. I'm still American in that sense.
All right. Well, I'd be remiss to ask, how did you two meet?
Oh, man.
You want to tell the real story? Or
the real story, Kahlil. He's so crazy. I can't with him.
No, we do joke about it. All right, so she's going to tell you the real story, but I don't know. To me, I think the story is not as glamorous as it should be. So I come up with different stories like every other week about how we should have met. And I like make it like glamorous kind of thing.
You know what? Natasha must really love you, because if you come up with a different story every week, a Jamaican lady would cuff you every time with a different story.
He's crazy. This man is crazy. Okay, so
real story. Picture it. Yes. We're 18 years old. It's our first fall break on campus, and across from campus, there's a Greyhound bus station. So we were both going on actually at the same time to go home to New York. We didn't know each other. I got on a bus and I saw him walk onto the bus, all dressed in like Sixers gear, and I thought he was the most. Yeah, I was a big Iverson fan, so that's why I was wearing Sixers.
The crossover.
From New York. I wasn't wearing Knicks. I had to wear the Sixers at the time because Iverson was the best. He's still the best.
All right.
And I thought he was the most beautiful person I had ever seen in my life, and to the day I die, I will always feel that way. And so I had to talk to him. So I was actually kind of like catcalling him on the bus, but he didn't hear me because he had headphones on. So I was like really irritating everyone on the bus because I was like, "Yo, hey, shorty," but he just didn't hear me.
How would I even know that's directed at me?
So when we finally when we arrived in New York, he was messing with his bags. He had like 2 giant duffel bags because he was taking stuff, I guess, home that he didn't need on campus. Yeah. And I was like, "Hey, I'm Natasha. We go to Penn State because we got on the same bus." And I've never hit on someone, so I didn't know like quite how to do it. And he was just like busy with his bag, so I thought he wasn't interested. So I was like, "Okay, bye." And I forgot like to ask for number. I didn't know how to do that. So then 2 weeks later, we were watching a movie. What was it? Catwoman on campus. They showed.
I'd gone with my friend to see.
He had gone with his friend, and I saw he has a very wide back span, and so I saw the shape of his back like the shadow come across as he entered into the movie theater, and I was like, "That's the guy I saw 2 weeks ago in the doctor." So then I ran up to him at the end of the movie, and I was like, "Hey there, we saw each other 2 weeks ago. How are you?" And then we ended up going to a party, and then we've been together ever since.
That's the real story. I'm convinced that's the real story. I'm convinced that's the real story. That's the real story.
It's too sad not to be a real
story. Exactly. Well, we'll jump to, how did the podcast get started?
Yes.
Does that have to? Well, I guess it probably. I mean, it's kind of been like a lifetime in the making because we always like to talk to each other. And like even before going to sleep, we would talk kind of about like philosophy and we talk about relationships and kind of the other stuff we talk about on the podcast. So I think it's been growing. We've had this voice. We've talked to each other so much, and it's like, wow, we should probably share this with others because sometimes we have really insightful things to say, and
absolutely,
I think it would be nice to share it with people. And then also the thing is, we said, if we start a podcast, we should go even further than we do. Yeah. We could actually like learn more while doing this podcast. So if you listen to our podcast, you'll see we don't just talk off the top of our head. We do research before and find out a little bit more about the topic and what do experts say? What do other people say about it? What are their opinions? And we'll inject that into our conversation, and that's kind of like our podcast got started. So it was just me and you having a conversation and saying, you know, we should share with others.
Absolutely.
This is something that other people need to hear, and we want to have them chime in too. Tell us what they think about our opinions. Are we really far out there? Because sometimes we say things that we're not sure will everybody agree. So I think that's a good way to get your opinion across, is to have this like platform where you speak to others. So that's
I mean, yeah, woke and free essentially stands for being woke, right? Being educated when you discuss something. We were tired of hearing people on public television programs, like major platforms, have these conversations, and they're not even like educating their audience. And I think that that's an injustice in reporting, in journalism, in you know, kind of public commentary. You need to talk about something. You need to break it down, right? Because not everyone is aware of the certain type of terminology that's involved with something. So there's that piece. That's the woke piece. And then the be free piece is to have a free conversation, right? As people, as couples, we wanted to make sure that we're sharing our thoughts and having the ability to have other people chime in as well, because we might be thinking something, but we don't know what everyone else is thinking. So we want to have a free conversation. So be woke and be free. And then also, as a couple, I think one of the grounding forces as to why we're together, it will be 14 years in September, it'll be because we've been creating together. We've been pursuing passions. And I think a big part of Black love and just love generally is you have to have common ground with your partner. And so we wanted the body of our work to be essentially an opportunity to inspire and motivate other couples and other relationships to be like, you know what, that's really cool. We should create something together, because that's how you can be together, to have this thing where every week we have to get together. We have to do this no matter what. It's like Kahlil and Tasha time, right? Like we've got to come together, and we both are very busy, but we make time for this because it's important to us, and we learn. We're learning our thoughts about what we think about things, as well as what our audience is going to be thinking on things as well.
So from the time, how long were you talking about this till it actually became the first show?
Ooh. I guess
6 months.
Yeah, maybe about 6 months.
6 months, and we actually start the conversation. Like, what should we do with this that we talk about? What me and you do? What should we do with that? And I think it was like 6 months in the making. It was like, maybe we should do like a podcast.
Yeah, that's how
we
were thinking about the different types of media, and we decided on a podcast, and then we decided to launch it on my birthday because you know, a lot of times people are like, happy birthday. Cool, but like, instead of saying happy birthday, listen to our podcast, right? Like, let's support us on our endeavor. You know,
you know how to take advantage of social media. That's you're great with social media.
Because I get a lot of people who are like, media guru. You know, thank you.
She's the guru of social media. She knows it all.
Wonderful.
I'm kind of like I dabble in social media, I'll say.
I love it, but you know, we all have our thing. And again, we're different. If you listen to our podcast, we can be very opposing on our viewpoints and how we see things in the world.
And what was funny was that people used to think, I guess they do that with all couples. They think that, oh, since you're together, your opinions are kind of the same. So they would, like, she would think something and it'd be like, that's how you feel too. And I never chimed in. It's like, I didn't agree with that.
Not my twin. No,
like, I didn't agree.
Yeah, no, our parents are like, you guys are the same. And it's like, who are you talking about? We do not feel the same way on things.
Yeah, you can't.
Most of the time, we are totally opposed on things. Like, he's there and I'm there. And it's just like, okay.
We have to find like our middle ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to work on that. But we find our middle ground. But yeah, we usually do have the difference of opinions.
We're usually very different.
Okay.
I would say you're a little bit more liberal than me.
I'm a hardcore liberal, so you know, I'm all about like, you know, I'm not a hippie, but I mean, I'm just, you know, like I want peace and love, and why can't we love each other, guys? And Kahlil's a little bit more like
a little bit conservative, like I don't understand certain things that
people
are changing.
Have to go to war, people have to die sometimes, and I'm like, no. Yeah. And it's like, you know.
Well, I'm telling you, anyone who's watching this live on the replay, if you're not sold, your wood is wet. Let's put it that way. If you're not sold, all right.
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Your wood is wet. What was the first episode about? And how did you come out deciding what the first episode would be about?
Ooh, it was about birthdays, and we were talking about what are things that we like, don't like on birthdays, to be, you know, in kind of in keeping with the fact that we launched it on my birthday. And it was funny because on that episode, his mom learned, she was like, oh, I have to listen to the podcast because I feel like I'm learning who my son is, because Kahlil can pretend to be shy, but he's not shy. He's like he's equally as loud and peacock as I am.
Hold on, look at it, he's shaking his head.
No, I'm a quiet soul.
He's like he goes into stealth mode, and I'm like, nah, he's playing with y'all guys. Soul. People will describe him as shy, and I'm like, y'all don't know. You do. Listen to WokeNFree. Y'all don't know. The madness I have to deal with.
I'm just voicing my opinion.
His mom will say, I bring out the vocalness of him. Like, but I feel like you feel.
Oh, that's what she
that she thinks that I draw it out of you.
I think so.
Most times you'll choose not to, and then he'll come home and be like, and I'm like, there you go.
Well, I have to like build a sense of like a comfortability with people before I just come out and just tell them how I feel, because I'm just afraid that I'm going to offend them. So that's one of my things. I like walk on eggshells until I know who I'm with I can be comfortable with, and I won't offend them. Because there's a lot of, and you know that. So
I offend people because I'm a forceful Jamaican, because I'm like, this is what I think. Like,
so you have a different tactic.
I'm just like, okay, like, y'all gonna mess with me, or you're not gonna mess with me. That's it. Like,
you come out showing everything.
Yeah, I'm like, let's go.
Put everything out on the table. Here it is. I'm like, hold on. Let's wait. Let's see if you'll be okay with this.
Life is too short not to be you. Like, I'm just like, whatever, like, do you. If you can't rock with me, then you're not cool enough. Like, YOLO. That's fine. Yeah, right? Like, YOLO, all day, every day.
So when people ask me about podcasting, I tell them to do at least 15 episodes, because a lot of people don't know how much work is involved to do a podcast. When you started to do the podcast, did you realize how much work would be involved?
Not even close. Not even close. Because, one of the biggest things was, like, just first, like, editing the audio of our first podcast. Just learning how to get that to fit right in the constraints that we want. Because we didn't want our podcast to be super long. We want it to be kind of short so that people can just take it in, like, on a commute or something, and they wouldn't have to wait an hour for it. But yeah, the editing was definitely a big thing. Setting up for it, like preparing it, getting the microphone ready, all that took time. Figuring out our equipment, saying, hey, you know what, we should change this equipment because that'll work better. And then continuously actually coming together and recording the episode. That was a lot more work, because we thought that'd be a breeze. It's like, oh, this is only 30 minutes. It won't take that long to finish.
We thought, we'll do like 4 in one day, and we'll be set for the month.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, we just kept cramming them all in at one time, but a lot different, especially with the resurch aspect. Yeah. Because there's a whole preparation aspect before we even begin recording.
It takes hours to get one 30-minute segment done. Yeah.
I am so glad other people are hearing this other than me, because I've been doing that for years, and people don't realize the final product takes a lot of time.
Yes.
Oh my God. And then not even to mention the marketing piece of it. Like I see you go in on social media as well. So all of that takes time and energy. That stuff isn't just, happening. It's not we don't have magical fairies that are just doing stuff. Like, you got to go there and you got to tweet and this and that. Oh my God. And then think about, how can I be more innovative? Should I be talking to these people? Like, and you have to really be kind of innovating all the time, which you actually need to take time to do. You have to sit and think about innovative ways and kind of be in that flow to do that. So it's a lot. It's a lot of work. But as people say, right? If you love what you do, it's not work.
Yeah.
So when did you realize it was not work?
Or
have you realized it's not work? Maybe.
I don't know. I think it's fun. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's just,
I think it's always been fun. Right?
Yeah, it's always been fun because I'm like, oh, what is this guy gonna say here? Like,
and then I would guess it would happen after like the 5th episode. Then we kind of got in the stride.
We got into a groove.
We figured out how we can like streamline the process, and
we
knew exactly which steps we needed to do, which order to do our steps in, like researching, recording, editing,
figuring out the workflow, and then also you have to divide and conquer, right? So you have to do everything because it's your show, right? But because there's 2 of us, he'll be like, you do social media, I identify people who I want to interview, so I'll do certain outreach, he'll do certain outreach, he does all the tech things, I do all the creatives. I love art, so I've been really working on the creative and art side of things. So we divide and conquer, and then that way you don't have 2 cooks in a kitchen, because I would say that we had to learn to work together better because we've been together for so long. Earlier on, like in college, sometimes we would kind of butt heads because both of you can't do the same thing at the same time. You have to kind of figure out.
You gotta delegate.
Yeah, delegate.
Certain
and certain people have certain strengths, and you need to empower your partner to do what they do, right?
Yeah.
And if you want them to learn at something, then that's fine. But you both can't be like kind of over each other. Like, did you do this? Like, because that becomes annoying. You got to give each other the empowerment to say, you got this, I got this, let's come together, let's make a final product and enjoy it, right? Because if you're not enjoying it, then there's something wrong and you need to figure it out.
What have been some of the highlights you've had so far doing the podcast?
Ooh, highlights.
Well, I like that we had so we like to have guests on our show from time to time, and we had a rapper, Miss Eves.
Yes.
So it was very fun talking with her because she's, I'll say, a little bit eclectic. So
she's very cool.
Interesting.
Very
cool. She was really cool. So talking to her was really fun. And we like to like do personal shares on each of our podcasts to start it off. So we had a personal share with her about what would be the superpower you would not want to have. And hers was kind of interesting. She was like, she wouldn't want to have the power to fart. So I don't know. It just kind of came out of nowhere. And I thought that was really funny because we were talking about it for a while. And I was like, oh, okay, let's actually get to know who you are now.
I can't.
Besides talking about this random thing.
We also talked about Bitcoin, right? Like that's been kind of all the rage in society. We talked about guns. We talked about immigration. We talked about success. We also interviewed a fellow podcaster from the Brutally Honest podcast, and he's very different in how he views things. Like me and him are very different.
You guys are you guys are polar.
So
opposites.
we're definitely polarizing. But he's cool because he's had me on his podcast, and we're gonna go on his podcast as well. So and we're lining up some we had an interesting doctor who talked about procrastination. So that was interesting. I think that episode will be coming up. So it's been interesting.
And we also had a ghost episode. So we do different types of things. Yeah, we talked about ghosts.
Yes. So and it's interesting to see what people are interested in. It's interesting to see what provokes conversation and also just learning, just figuring out how we can be better each week, which is hard because again, it's not like we do our podcast and that's all we do. Yeah. Like, I'm running, as you know, very Jamaican, right? So don't ask me how many jobs I have, right? Like so I'm running, but we gotta make sure that I find time for this, make sure that we're thinking about different ways we can approach this and make it fun and exciting. And I think people are having fun listening. Every time we hear people, they are like, you guys are ridiculously funny. So that's always a good thing. I mean, we didn't know we were comedians, but I mean,
That just happens to come out. That's like an after effect of the podcast.
Watch for our stand-up.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting. So what is the process that you two do to either pick a conversation topic on one of your podcasts or a guest?
Ooh, a lot of it I think is life inspired, right?
It's inspired. Yeah, I mean, it might be something, we might hear something on a radio, we might see something on TV, like we started talking about politics just by watching TV. Like, we were hearing opinions on immigration came up. Yeah. But on other things like fake news, that was another topic we had. So it's just like watching media. We hear these things and we're like, why are they saying that?
Why are they saying
that? Is that actually true?
Yeah, you know.
Because, and that happens a lot. I mean, I remember you would watch shows, like even, this may be a topic as ancient aliens, but you would watch like ancient aliens. And they would say certain facts, and I don't know. I like, when I hear things, I want to know if it's true. So I'd go and I'd Wikipedia it and search around, and I'd be like, wait, that's not a fact.
Oh, yeah, he was so offended. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd come back to him, I'm like, wait, you know what you're watching is not real. So when I see things like that, I tell her, I say, hey, that's not right.
You were so offended.
And it's kind of like situations like that say, hey, that should be a topic because that's happening. That's not true, and we need to talk about that. We should tell people what's real.
Absolutely.
Because we're all about being real and honest on our podcast. So
WokeNFree.
It's hearing these things in media, or even like maybe a friend might bring something up, or our parents will have conversations.
Yeah, and we're like, hold on.
Wait, why do they feel that way? Do they not know anything about this?
Y'all need to get educated. Wait a minute. Yeah. So that pretty much,
that's how we come up with our topics, and we're very structured with our topics too. We have like an Excel list, and we have kind of like a prioritization.
That's all me.
Which topic we need to do first, and we kind of like organize that and go back and forth.
So I'm a Virgo, so I think in checklists. So that's I do the organization piece of it.
I'm a Virgo too.
Hey, when's your birthday?
If I tell people, they're gonna just say it's at the end of the cusp. Let's leave it at that. I'll let people figure it out.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm the day after Beyonce. I'm September 5th. B Queen Bee is September 4th.
Wow.
So I'm, with royalty.
I bow in your presence. I bow in your presence.
Well, Natasha is a Russian, queen or princess name.
Yes.
So,
So when you're doing your podcast, what has been the biggest challenge, if any, you've had so far during the podcast journey?
Ooh, I guess for me, I don't know what you're going to say, but I would say the biggest challenge is sometimes prep. Like sometimes if we're on a crunch and I feel like, we got to move along and maybe we're not working on the same timeline, I will get frustrated because then, I want to do things at a certain time. So I would say prep would be the biggest thing. And then also, I guess, making sure that sometimes, you get heated in a conversation and you still want to make sure that you're being as articulate as possible and that you don't, present yourself in a less informed or less educated manner, aka cursing or sounding ignorant. So I guess those would be my two biggest challenges.
Well, my challenges would just come down to technical difficulties of getting my computer to work. Because sometimes we needed to record and we were nearing the deadline and the computer was acting up and I was really mad about that. Yeah. So I would spend nights and nights trying to fix that in preparation of that not happening the next time. And I had that for a couple of episodes. So getting down to technical glitches or gremlins, that was kind of my biggest challenge, really. But I think now I've got that under control, so it's not a challenge anymore.
I'm Mr. Tech Guy. I have all faith in you. I know you can get the job done. No doubt.
Thanks.
What is there been a conversation topic you haven't hit on yet that you're looking to hit on?
Oh yeah, plenty. We're kind of newer in the game, right? So we just started in September of last year. A bigger one.
Not a big one, but what are some of the ones on the list that you're wanting to approach?
We want to have you read this book called Create or Hate by Dan Norris?
No.
Okay, so you should definitely read this book. It's amazing. It literally will blow your mind. It's all about in life, people can decide to create, right, or to hate. And I think that we live in a very hateful culture. We're constantly, he didn't do this right. She doesn't look right. This isn't right. We're constantly on this scrutiny of everyone else's fault, and we refuse to get in the lane of create, right? If you don't like what someone's doing, you go ahead and do it. If you don't like what someone's wearing, you go ahead and go and find a way to. So I think that for us, I'm definitely looking forward to that conversation because oh, too many times I hear all this hate, like criticism, and I'm tired of it, and I'm bored of it because it's coming from quote unquote friends, it's coming from quote unquote loved ones, and enough is enough. Call a spade. Like enough is enough. So I'm looking forward to schooling some people on that conversation.
That'll be a good one.
As you see, I'm not afraid to be confrontational.
No. The Jamaican and American is in full force tonight. Yes, you're bold, sold, and told, you know?
Yes.
Kahlil, any subjects you're looking forward to having a conversation about?
Yeah, so just before I get into that, one thing I want to mention too is that on our podcast, right at the end, we do a set of 3 scenarios. Okay. So I come up with different like situations that are surrounding the topic. So those are like really enjoyable parts because I come up with the scenarios and she doesn't know about them beforehand. So she has to come up with on the spot, how would she deal with these scenarios? And I think I love doing that for each of the episodes. It really gets me in kind of like the creative sort of mindset. And sometimes it's challenging because I try to make the scenarios different and I try to really surprise her and give her things that she can never guess. So that's the fun in making the scenarios. So in terms of the topic that I want to talk about it's kind of a nerdy one and it's brought up in I guess like shows and media, but I want to talk about time. So what is time? Like we talk about that all the time.
Yeah, we do.
Are there other dimensions of time? You know,
we talk about this all the time.
Can you go into the past? Can you go into the future? If you had the ability to go into the past, what would you do? Would you change anything? Because we talk about that all the time. That's something that comes up as like, hey, if you could go back to any point in time and you could change one thing, what would you change? And then I say, all right, if you change that, there will be a chain reaction and everything else will change. Do you still want to do that? So I definitely want to get into the time topic just so we can cover that basis.
That'll be very, very, very interesting. I'd love to hear if anyone who's listening to that, if they're brave enough to offer anything they'd want to change.
Yeah, I think some people have like things they want to change, like
the last election. I mean,
so now you're talking about some
ding, 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 ding,
sort of superpower or something.
That's an obvious one.
You have magical powers or something. I don't know.
You have mentioned you've had some guests on. Who are some dream guests you'd like to have on WokeNFree?
Well, easy, almost number one is Oprah.
Oh, yes, Queen Oprah.
We'd love to have Oprah on.
We'd
love to have her talk on some topics.
I would love to have Ryan Coogler, the creator of Black Panther and Fruitful Station.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with Michael B. Jordan, so please come on, Michael B. Jordan. I would also like Katie Holmes. I would like.
I want Jaden Smith.
Yes, Jaden Smith.
I like his album.
Will Smith would be amazing because he's been doing some really interesting motivational content.
And he's done some interesting movies too.
Yes.
Concussion.
And then if we could go back in time and we could speak to someone who's no longer with us, Malcolm X. That's my heart always. So and Maya Angelou, of course. But
Elon Musk, definitely want to speak to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Jeff Bezos, I want to speak to him.
Yes.
Gary Vaynerchuk, I'd love to speak with him as well. He's interesting. Also, like, I don't know if you're familiar with the Pastor Stephen Furtick. He's really interesting and love him. I'd love to have him on. Joyce Meyer, love her.
I've seen Joyce Meyer live 4 times.
Oh, beautiful. She's so dope. She's like the dopest. I love her. Love her. Who else? Yeah, I mean, there's a list,
Okay.
We have a list.
Good. So what is the next step for the podcast? What's the next vision?
We're looking to actually do some other types of media production. So actually this week we're going to be launching something that everyone has to just come on our Instagram, Facebook, and check out. I don't want to give out too many details about it, but
don't let the cat out the bag.
Yeah, but it's something that we've never done before, and
just thinking about it is it's a lot different.
It's a production is what I will say. It is a
production, yeah.
So more productions, because we'd like to get into film and television production, and then of course probably do more talks. Like as a couple, we'd like to get out and kind of get our road out of the podcast sphere as well, and like do in-person events and hosting and things like that. So just kind of take over.
So,
what keeps
one thing I want?
Go ahead.
Can I get it? All right. Yeah. One thing I wanted to say is that this kind of ties in with the scenario. So me and her, we're very creative, and we actually want to write like a screenplay, and we also we're thinking about putting together a comic as well. So we have some other sort of media aspirations besides like video and audio. We want to actually write.
Yes.
My mom's an author actually, so that's where I kind of get the inspiration from. So that's why I want to write my own things. I'm writing my own stories, and I'd like to write a book. So we are working on other forms of media besides audio and video. I just wanted to add that in.
What message do you have out there for Blacks who are looking to become content creators?
You first have to figure out what you want to create, right? Having a vision is everything. So be very specific, be very honest with yourself, be very clear with yourself about what you want to create. And then you have to strategize, right? Things don't just magically happen. There are no fairies running around doing things for you. You've got to really put in the work. So be willing to put in the work and surround yourself with people that can help you get to the next level. And then also think about the bigger picture. Think about the bigger impact you're having. I think that's always something that needs to drive us, right? We as Black people, as Black creatives, you come from a long history of very powerful, capable people. So what do you want? What do you want your mark on this world to be? I always, that's kind of a grounding thing for me when I'm doing and thinking about the work that I'm a part of. And then, enjoy it, right? Enjoy the heartache, enjoy the like late nights, and because that's that kind of that sweat equity that is so amazing, and you'll be so proud of yourself if you commit to doing this and putting your work out there, and then believe in it, right? So many people do these things and they don't believe it'll go anywhere. If you don't believe in yourself, you cannot expect for anyone else to believe in you. So that's my spiel.
All right, so I only have two things I would say that I'd like to say. So the first thing is find out what you're good at. Really find out what do you do that's good? What do you love? So that's where you start off with. It's what do I love to do? I like to break things. That might just be what you do, but there might be more to that. Maybe you like to build things back up. So just figure out what you like to do some research, find others who like to do that as well. They can teach you maybe what the career path could be, what you could go on to be when you get older. So just figure out what you love to do. I think that's the first step. And then the second thing after you get that done is don't wait. Don't wait for perfection, because that's never going to happen. There's never like a perfect time to start. You just need to start now. Like you just got to go out there and do it. You can't say, oh, when I get older, I'll be a little bit more ready to release this album, or I'm working on my music, but it's not perfect yet. It doesn't have that finishing touch. Let me just wait and then figure out what the finishing touch is, and then I'll release it. No, don't wait. Just do it now. Don't wait. You're not going to make it perfect. And maybe you're being too hard on yourself too. Maybe it's already perfect in some other people's eyes. So just release it. Just go out and do it. You don't need any excuses. You don't need any more experience. You need to just go out and do it. Don't make excuses, or else you'll just always you'll procrastinate and you'll never get it done. There'll always be an excuse, and then you'll look back and say, why didn't I ever do it? I mean, maybe I needed to be less fearful and just and critical of myself and just do that. You don't want to have any regrets, so just go and do it. Whatever you put out, whatever media it is, it's going to work. You put your heart into it, you loved it, it's definitely going to work. You just got to do it. Don't wait.
Yeah.
I'll piggyback onto that. There's a few things I got to add. First thing first, I want to shout out to one of my favorite people online, Dr. Tachi. She hosts one of the best live stream programs out there. It's called the Mediascope. It's all about media, pop culture, and technology. It's on every Wednesday night via Paris Facebook Live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And she also does another version 1 hour earlier on Instagram Live. She said she's enjoying what she's hearing. She is saying Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are good ones.
Yeah.
And what was the name of the book again, Natasha, that you mentioned?
Oh, yeah. Create or Hate by Dan Norris.
Norris. Okay. So she was asking, she thought it was Dan Morris. It's Dan Norris, right?
Yeah. Dan Norris with an N. Yeah.
Excellent. And I just want to piggyback on what Kahlil was saying there. I can detest, I can give you what they're saying is right, because I've done 2,000 of these. And I will piggyback, know what you're good at, but also know what you're not good at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a very big thing, because there are things doing this that I am not good at. I have people helping me.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to align yourself with people who are smarter than you in some things.
You should always, right? You should never be the smartest person in your group, in the room. You should always be pushing, right? And because it makes you better. It's a part of your net worth.
And also too, and that means for some people, you're going to have to push your ego out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Big time. And again, what Kahlil was saying about just don't get good, get done. Really and truly.
True.
Just finish. I love that.
You should put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah, I like that.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's a good phrase.
Like as I say, they don't make statues for critics. They make statues for people who finish what they said they're going to do.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I will leave it at that, because you two probably have to get ready for your Wednesday show.
You know us oh so well.
Look, I know, and I got to do some editing after I'm finished this. So we both got stuff to do on the continuous. I would like to say thank you to both of you for taking time out of your positive, productive schedule, from your dog, from your cat, from your lives.
Yes.
If people want to know more about what you're doing, how can they do that?
Yeah. They should visit us at WokeNFree.com, and they can also visit us on Facebook, Facebook.com/WokeNFree, Instagram, WokeNFree, Twitter, WokeNFree, just Woke, WokeNFree.
I'm pleased that you got that tagline, or you got that URL, because I would have thought that would have been gone.
Yeah, we came up with it, and we were like,
yeah, just driving along and saying, hey, woke
and free. And we were like, yes, capture.
Actually, and some words of wisdom as a couple working together. What sort of words of wisdom can you give, whether it's doing a show, just general, a Black couple working together, and you're doing it well? What sort of words of wisdom could you share with others who... Hello, I'm here.
Oh, yes, can you see us?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, good.
All right, yeah.
Perfect. So words of wisdom would be just definitely find something that you want to do together potentially, and even if you don't, try to identify that, and then, figure out how it's going to help your relationship. For us, I think we were both getting very caught up in our daily lives, and we weren't necessarily spending enough time in couple time. So WokeNFree is also kind of like a beautiful product of our love. And so it's, we make it, and then we enjoy listening to it ourselves. So I think that that's a big part of being together and just being present with each other.
And just like you were saying earlier, couples can work together. Even if you have differing ideas, you can work together. You just got to find who can do which role, like who should take the lead on certain things. Just figure out what you're good at, what your partner's good at, and you both can go and do your task, and you can come back together and make something great.
Absolutely. You
don't have to agree on everything. And we know that, and when you're in a relationship, you know that's going to happen. You're going to have conflict. But at the end of the day, you can come to some common ground, and you can make some great content, actually.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
So don't be afraid to fight.
There you go.
Yes.
All right. Well, on that note, we will let them leave. I am Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. As always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. If you want to watch replays of epic conversations like this one on YouTube, just go to YouTube, put in the search engine the space, DR_VIBE space, SHOW. If you want to listen to audio replays of my epic conversations, you can go to my website, DRVIBESHOW.com. You can also go to Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, Google Play Music Store, iHeartRadio. You can also listen to, and if you guys think you're busy, I'm going to share how busy I am. I also have selected audio replays on the goodmenproject.com and also WGMS Radio. I'm also a certified empowerment coach, president and CEO of Express Your Vibe Coaching and Communications. If you'd like a complimentary session, please touch base with me at Twitter at drvibeshow, email address dr.vibe@drvibeshow.com. You can go to the website, click on Contact Dr. Vibe. You can even contact me via video or audio call. So there's no excuses, no buts. Also, yes. I'm a brand ambassador for the only online magazine dedicated to African Americans in food, wine, and travel. The magazine is called Cuisine Noir Magazine. Website address is cuisinenoirmag.com. I also provide a service called Getting Media Coverage, where I help businesses and entrepreneurs get media promotion so they can elevate their business or their product or their service. And finally, catch me every Friday morning at 7:25 a.m. Eastern Time on WURD out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania's only publicly owned Black talk station. And I'm on there with Flood the Drummer and Ike Raw on a segment called The Week That Was, where we take a look at stories that got covered and some of the stories that should have been covered over the past week. So finally, I'd like to say three things. First of all, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Second of all, sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. And finally, block assumptions. Mm-hmm. So on that note, I'd like to say thank you to the wonderful couple. Thank you to Dr. Tachi. Thank you for those watch live on the replay. And as we like to say, God bless, peace be well, keep the faith. And to my fellow Jamaican, walk good.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.